morning, good morning. Today we're going to talk about money and wealth and craziness and spray tans. Because Paul, I've always been pale and I've always wanted a tan, but I went to the cancer doctor again yesterday. 2 more places taken off, biopsies done. And I just laughed and I said, I'm getting all this cancer and I never went out in the sun. But I can remember as a teenager, this fad of spray tans came along. Well, I don't know if y'all watched that crazy debate the other night when somebody mopped the floor with somebody. But the somebody that was mopped the floor with, he got a spray tan. And I was watching it last night on the news and I thought, I look pale a lot of days on TV, and so I wear extra makeup some days. But I am not, y'all, I am not coming out here spray tanned, because I know y'all would all be sitting at home giggling and laughing at me, because it's very obvious when you've had a spray tan. And for you ladies who think you're going to the beach and you want to look really cool before you get there and you're going to get you a spray tan, don't do it, because it makes you look silly. So, but the man who got the spray tan last night, when I turned on the TV, I went, oh my God, what happened to him? He was very pale during the debate. He's no longer pale. He's very bronze.
He was bronze and not orange, though, right?
Yes, yeah, he was bronze and not orange. That's right. That's
they
right.
probably made sure
Yes,
it wasn't
that's right.
orange.
Yeah. But it was crazy. I went, oh my gosh, what happened? Because I'm pale, I'm white. I'm super white, and so I wear a certain color makeup. But honestly, he went from almost an iridescent white on stage to now he's bronze, and it really looks weird. It really looks weird. I don't know if it's going to help. I was going to tell him if he'd eat this simple Southern scrumptious food and some healthy stuff, it'll put some color in your cheeks. So, Joe, if you want some green in your cheeks, go to Mike's and eat you some collards. So, eat you some healthy food.
It's
funny. Been a weird week. We had that debate, and I know I have 2 friends that are Democrats, and I know they're going to probably vote that way, which just makes my blood boil, but God bless them. But I get tickled because I'm like, this one blonde, they're interviewing her, and she said, well, he didn't do well, but I can't vote for Trump. And I'm like, really? You can't? Okay. Well, I had 4 times as much in the bank under Trump as I did under the other one. And I'm like, I can vote for him because the economy was there. The good feelings were there. The growth was there. And the grocery prices were down.
Yeah.
And the gas prices were down. And they get tickled at me because I told you I called the bank the other day because I thought I'd been hacked on one of my accounts. And the girl said, did you just buy $5.02 worth of gas? Because it just came through. I said, yeah. She said, what? I said, because the dang stuff's too high and it made me mad. So our world, I don't know about you, but I had 4 really good years. And then it's been a struggle. And that struggle can end in November and we can move forward. I think it's going to take a while to come out of this struggle.
Oh, it's going to take a while.
I think it's going to take a while.
Let's assume that Trump's the candidate and Trump wins. It's going to take a while because the inflation that we're experiencing. I mean, you've got the problem with both candidates is they're fiscally irresponsible. So the inflation is pretty much embedded in the system unless we just have an major economic downturn. And which is not outside the realm of possibility just because we still have that lag effect with higher interest rates starting to kind of impact the economy. I think it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, but yeah, I mean, there's no easy way out of this. I mean, there's just no easy way out of it. I mean, the government's spending so much money that let's say Trump wins and he reins in that, well, that's gonna reduce the money flowing into the economy, which is going to increase the likelihood of a recession. But I genuinely don't think that this administration cares.
Yeah.
I really think that that they have convinced themselves. It's amazing how people can convince themselves of the lies that they tell. Mm-hmm. They've convinced themselves that, hey, we'll do anything that we can to try to win. Yeah. There's no boundaries that we'll cross.
Yeah. And to destroy whatever's in my way.
Right.
To destroy
Right.
whatever's in their way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
The small businessman.
well, I mean, regulations are coming down like crazy.
Oh, listen, trucking 38 years when
Yeah.
they deregulated totally changed our world.
Yeah.
Totally changed our world. Now there's a regulation on everything.
Oh, yeah, it's the regulation across the board.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
You know, and I haven't learned it enough, but there was a recent court ruling that limited the power of the government regulation authorities. The Chevron rule was overdone. I don't know enough to talk about it today, but that's a big step by this court in a direction of trying to stand up to the small business owner.
Yeah.
But the problem is you've got, you know, your Democrats tend to be the more liberals, which tends to be your creatives, which tends to be, you know, the technology power centers. And really what they've done, they're good, shrewd business people. They've just utilized their lobbying force to create monopolies around the businesses that they're in. And this administration's gone along with it. And other administrations have as well. But, you know, that increases a burden on the average individual and small businesses across the board.
Sure.
I mean, small businesses, I mean, it's amazing the regulations that come through that I, in my business, am forced to do business with certain entities that are thousands of dollars a month
Right.
to meet some government regulation that really doesn't protect. It doesn't protect the clients that we're serving, and it reduces the ability of innovation because I can't go hire a company to do the technology stuff behind us that we have to do to meet the regulation unless they're approved by the government entities.
Right.
And so it's creating monopolies around certain businesses by lobbying power.
Plus, it takes the money you spend on that. You could have hired one more person in your office. You could have grown your wealth. You could have, you know, is it $50,000 to $100,000 a year to do the extra things you have to do?
Yeah.
I talked to a guy who had a chemical company, and he said the things that they had to do was between $50,000 and $100,000. And he said that's like a payroll, another person who would have a job.
I could literally hire
Yes.
a full-time person,
Yes.
which would dramatically increase customer service, dramatically increase quality of life for all of us at the office. And people just don't know this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
People
But
don't know it. If you're working
to do something that's really unnecessary.
Yeah, if you're working for a Fortune 500 company or if you're working, and then there's other things that are coming through that are just little bitty things. And look, here's my thing. It is unethical, but I don't fault a business owner by going to a politician and saying, here's 100,000, will you pass this? I mean, the numbers that are out there now are way greater than 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
But here's $100,000. I need you to pass this regulation. This is why it'll work. We're going to save the environment. We're going to DEI or whatever it is. If you'll pass this, and the byproduct is it takes care of my business. And when you get out of politics or if your kids want to be hired, they can come work for me.
Yeah.
It's unethical. But that's what, you know, businesses fight to try to increase regulation. But we have to have boundaries within our society, and you have to have men of integrity, men and women of integrity in politics. So the responsibility of our politicians is go, hey, Sherry, I get it, I appreciate it, but no. Okay, no, that's not what's best for the American people.
Saying no?
None of them.
None, zero. Sorry.
Well, I mean,
I know one.
Sherry,
that
think
might.
about it.
I know one that I totally trust. He's a local boy, and I really trust him. I do.
Yeah, there are.
Not local here, local down the road. But yeah, I do trust him.
Yes.
Completely.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, so the point is we need, because let me ask you this question. I ask my kids this all the time, just trying to teach them about human nature. How many people do you know would turn down a $100,000 bribe if they felt like it wouldn't hurt somebody else?
How many people do I know who would turn it
Yeah.
down?
Can you count them on 5 fingers?
Can I count myself?
If you're brutally honest, I'm not asking you because I know you would.
Okay, I would.
Outside of yourself.
I would be a wreck that it was a setup, and that because I don't trust anybody anymore. You know, my trust has gone out the window.
Right.
No trust anymore. I don't know. I don't know anybody who would, because I run in a very tight circle.
Right.
I'm very cautious now of who and what and who I do trust. I don't know anybody.
But just in general, okay, so
There's bound to be somebody out there who would say, hey, yeah, I could do it. I know one person who might.
All right, let's raise that to 1 million.
Oh, boy.
Let's raise it to 10 million.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that could change lives, couldn't it?
Yeah, so that's the problem of where we are in society right now, is, you know, people in general have a price on their integrity. And you know, and all of us are going to be tempted in one way or another. Every single person out there, you know, it's the thing when I understand that Christ is my only solution for salvation, that I am a sinner, that by his sacrifice that I'm saved by grace. Okay, so the interesting thing is the more you really try to pursue living a godly life, the more you realize, oh my gosh, I am really wretched, right? Like, because you go so far as to, okay, well, I may not do the action, but Christ says if you think about it, well, that's the root, and he's right, because that's the seed that grows into action, that grows into habit, that grows, you know, the seed, the thought turns into action. So every one of us have different temptations. One person it may be money, one person it may be adultery, one person it may be something else, another person it may be lying. And we have to fight through those desires that are against everything that God has. And we're in a society today that there's no fight against desires. There's no desire to trust. There's no fear of God. And, you know, there was something I was debating on whether I was going to share today that just is just a good representation of what's taking place in our society, but it's so graphic that it's embarrassing to say.
Wow.
But there was a pride event in San Francisco, and I saw the videos. They weren't deep fakes. You had grown men walking around naked.
I saw some of that.
Excited is the best way that I can explain it.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
And walking up in front of 7,
Children.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids.
Yeah. Who are already, you know, wrong place, wrong time. Shouldn't have been there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Children shouldn't be exposed to any of that.
No, they shouldn't be.
It makes me angry. Yeah.
So,
it makes me mad.
And it shouldn't be, but the point is, weak individuals give in to their emotions. They give in to their desires. They don't have boundaries on where they want to go, and we can justify anything on the road to destruction. Yeah. And that's my concern about where we are right now.
I wish my mom and my granny could come back, because they didn't live. They both lived, well, they've been gone. Granny's been gone 30 years. Mama's been gone 20 years. They didn't live through what I think would absolutely choke them down. They couldn't believe that America has come to this.
No.
You know, that was like the last good generation. And now you're like, oh my gosh, you know. And you wonder why the kids have gone crazy, because the parents have gone crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And we see it. I mean, I'm like, holy cow. Something was brought up the other day, and I don't want to, you know, I don't drink. I don't drink, I don't smoke. And so something was brought up in a meeting I was at, and they were talking about, well, we need to have open container. We need to have open containers so everybody can walk around and drink. Why? The same reason that we laugh because Chick-fil-A closes on Sunday. Sunday was always a sacred day. Sunday was always the family day. Sunday was always the day you gathered around the table. Now, you know what they do on Sundays? Every bar in Atlanta is open. Every store sells alcohol on Sunday. And I'm like, really? You know, so did we go that far away? Do you remember Sundays when things were closed? The mall used to be closed on Sunday. Town Center Mall was not open on Easter Sunday. I mean, the whole place was closed. Yeah. It's so weird where we were 20 years ago, because my mother's been gone, 23 years. And where we are today, I don't think they'd want to be around it.
No, and it's really an indication. You know,
and what you just talked about, my mama would have been the one in the crowd with a baseball bat.
If I want to...
After those guys.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I genuinely, I just sat there. I was like, if I was to experience that,
It's crazy.
I know I would be in jail. I know that I would be charged with whatever kind of hate crime or whatever. If a man came up in front of my daughter and my boys at that age and did that, I would deliver a beating that I hope that I could stop before I went too far.
Oh yeah.
And it's not about, hey, look, if you want to go do that with the consenting adults outside, wherever, that you got to meet your maker one day.
Yeah.
Go live that way. But you will not do that in front of my kids.
Yeah.
And you will not do that really in front of other kids that are that age. Our children, we have to protect from the evil of the world and build them up strong enough that they can walk in it once they get out there, because there comes a day where you can't protect them from everything. And you don't want to build kids that you have to protect them all the time. You need kids that are strong enough to walk in the world. But
That's
you've got to shelter them
funny
from
that you say
things.
that, because how do you prepare them? How do we prepare them? I know a lot of parents who are homeschooling, who are keeping at home, trying to protect them, but then at the same time, they will take them to places and say, now this is what could happen if you associate with this. So they're protecting them at home, but then they know that they have to really show them what's out there, because sex trafficking is real. Children are being abducted at 5 years old, 8 years old, 12 years old.
Yes, they are.
They are sold into slavery.
Yes, they are.
Oh my gosh. I met somebody who had been trafficked, and after talking to her, she was a kid, and she escaped at 18. And you just think about that.
Yeah.
Think about your childhood. We all have childhood memories.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's like a sad memory. You lost a grandparent, you lost a parent, whatever. Or somebody hurt your feelings and you never got over how it crushed you when they hurt your feelings. But imagine having to live through being recovered and rescued from sex trafficking, and then having to go home and live the rest of your life normally.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, by God's grace. I mean,
that's what she said.
There's that's the only way. I don't know. I'm a big believer that unless you've walked in somebody's shoes, you can't. And I always get this wrong, guys. You can sympathize, if I remember correctly, but you can't empathize, because you've not experienced what they felt. And we can try. But I mean, the reality is horrible things happen in life, but horrible things happen a lot more when weak men and women are in control. So, if you had strong men and women that are up there, I don't believe we'd be spending all this money in Ukraine. I don't think we would be spending all of this money trying to convince the people of all this propaganda. We would be putting those resources into affordable housing. We would be putting those resources into, we want immigration. We don't want illegal immigration. We want the best and brightest to come to our country.
I want you to watch Monday's show, because the gentleman I had on, I called him and I think I threw him for a loop, because when I called, I said, listen, I want to do a really positive story about American immigration. And tell me your story. And so when he did, I said, I'd love to have you on the show. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay. And then yesterday I was talking to my business partner, who is from Peru, and she was talking about she is a U.S. citizen, and how taking that test. And I said, was it hard? And she said, no, but she said, I couldn't believe I passed it and how simple it was. And then I was a U.S. citizen. I got to raise my hand. And you think about that. Today, there's so much about our world that is good, and there's so much about our world that is bad. It's kind of like the bad is outweighing the good, and it's scary, because the 12-year-old little girl who was lured out of her home in Texas, and I'm gonna get in really big trouble. I use my iPhone all the time. It is like, all the time. Contacts, making connections with people, advertising with people, doing everything. I wouldn't give a rat's tail if they took down every smartphone in the world. I would go back to a flip phone, because I don't want you to text me. I want you to talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't want you to send me a text this long. I want you to talk to me. I don't want to see all the pictures. I want to have lunch with you and talk to you. I love back to that communication. these smartphones have taken over the world, and mine will probably quit today because I've said all this. It's probably I know it's listening to me, and it will probably slap me down when I get off the air. But I would love to go back. I think the convenience of a phone on you is great.
Yeah.
But I think the obsession of a phone on you is disgusting.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it before on here. I have been in restaurants and seen two grown adults sitting there with children, and the grown adults were on their phone the whole meal, and the kids were just sitting there staring into outer space. And I'm like, you're missing an opportunity to connect with your children because you've got a stupid smartphone. That's funny, a stupid smartphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But are we obsessed with it?
Oh, absolutely.
Are we obsessed with what everybody else did yesterday? Yeah. I share recipes and I share stories, and if I'm feeling down and out, you will know it. I shared that I had those biopsies yesterday. I share stuff, but I'm not obsessed with it. I like looking and seeing whose birthday it is. I like seeing who's been married 60 years. That always tickles me to death. I like seeing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Lord have mercy, don't let it eat you alive. And those people who abducted this 12-year-old connected with her on Facebook. What's a 12-year-old doing on Facebook?
Lack of understanding of the technology and the risks associated with it by parenting. It really is.
Yeah, it killed her. It took her life, but the open border really took her life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and here's the sad part. One of the huge weaknesses to the social media, and this is one of the things I really try to do, and I have 3 friends that I dearly enjoy and respect. I figured you had
more friends than that.
No, I actually have a lot, but this will tell you how rare this is in your life, okay? Yeah. I have 3 friends that will literally call me out if I'm acting like a fool. Or if and they will challenge.
I have one, and she does it often. So.
they would challenge my thought process.
Yeah.
I also have a good friend that votes on. Now I'm a political atheist. I'm in the middle. I have my opinions, but I have to be an equal opportunity. No, I don't have to. I choose to be an equal opportunity basher because it is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we have great debates, and we have come together closer in those debates, and they've probably pulled this way a little bit more, but we discuss concepts and things. The problem with social media is you get into a feedback loop of people that are telling you your ideas are great and there's nobody challenging your opinion. Mm-hmm. And that's what puts us in a situation. After the debate the other night, I will tell you, I was heartbroken for our nation. I was heartbroken for Biden.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
angry with his wife. Were you angry with her
for
putting him out there?
I felt contempt for the family around them.
Yeah.
And I despised what I knew was coming the next day.
Yeah.
And I literally wrote down, I said, over the next week, we're going to hear how that was a one-off event and how he's the smartest and the brightest and the greatest.
And that's what... Until 11 o'clock last night, they were still saying that, and I'm going, really?
Yeah.
Really?
And then, so it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that we as an American people are so divided along party lines, and we're so convinced, because I guess people don't understand that you've got 3 power centers and checks and balances in our government. So, so what's going to happen at this point? The American people on the Democratic side vote for the candidate that they want to have in there. Are they going to have a vote for whoever's going to replace him? Mm-hmm. Or is this going to be hoisted upon us? Who's really running, making the decisions in the White House? Who's, so it's quite terrifying when you really look at the situation and think about it. And regardless of political party, we should all be concerned about this. I mean, quite frankly, and I'll tell you, it's the choice that we have right now. I really wish we had a better candidate on the Republican side to an extent, but the one thing is I don't know that there's anybody that's got enough backbone to stand up against all the stuff that's coming against. But my concern is regardless of the outcome this fall, we're so divided as a nation. Each side is so convinced that they're correct. Each side is so unwilling to challenge their perception, because if you're on the Democratic side, you're so convinced that Trump's going to be a dictator. that it takes a lot of courage to actually say we got to get rid of, we got to replace this candidate.
Yeah.
So we have become a nation of weak leaders and weak people because we're just unwilling as a people in general. I know there are people out there that are willing to accept the truth, but we've become a nation of weak individuals that are willing to accept lies and willing to accept propaganda and willing to accept narrative because it feels more comfortable to do that.
Yeah.
And the unknown of the perceived chaos that will come if we drop these perceptions is just more than people have the strength to bear emotionally, I think. And it's gonna, I don't know when, but Fantasyland is gonna be over at some point in the next 24, 36 months, and it's gonna impact the economy, it's gonna impact the purchasing power of our currency, and it's gonna impact every aspect of our lives.
Yep.
And I believe we're to the point now that there is no turning back.
I think the thing, besides being really angry at that woman, what's her name, his wife, I'm scared because China, Russia, every foreign country who hates us was watching that debate. And they know that there's no power in the White House, zero
Right.
power in the White House. There is no accountability in the White House. There's nothing in the White House that would stop a world war. And that scares me.
Yeah.
That scares me. When we think about World War I, World War II, Korea, we think about all these, we think about what happened in Germany. What if there had not been strength to stop what happened? We don't have any strength anymore. Our dollar is weak. Our dollar's not near as weak as our presidency is, The money problem is a problem, but the strength that America has always shown through every president that I can think of. There were presidents I voted for I didn't even like, but I voted for them.
Yeah.
Well, I voted, everybody knows I voted, the only Democrat ever was because Jimmy Carter was in there, and my grandmother made me vote for him. And then at the last minute, I was like, Granny, I don't know about this, but we've never had such a weak president, and that scares me. That scares me more than anything.
No, and it is terrifying, but here's the thing. There is strength in this country and the people. There is a core of people, because I've met all kinds of people across the country with this new, with this relationship that I have with Chris Martinson, Peak Prosperity, and taught. And it's been really encouraging to me because there's a lot of people out there that aren't drinking the Kool-Aid, but they're busy trying to train their kids to live in the world, spend time with their family, manage their resources wisely, keep their businesses going, be prudent at their jobs, and they're busy.
Yeah.
And they realize now, I had a conversation with somebody the other day. It was like, these people that want to get into politics is not who we need.
Yeah.
We need to go and we need to sit down at a round table and go, you're the person that least wants to do it, but you actually have more time than the rest of us that are here. So we'll surround and support you, and we'll challenge you, but you need to run.
Yeah.
I've talked to probably 7 or 8 people. It's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, none of us do.
Yeah.
But at some point, somebody's going to have to make the sacrifice to step up, or, as Jordan Peterson says, if you abdicate responsibility to somebody else, totalitarians and authoritarians will absolutely take it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing here, and this is what concerns me about politics. At both extremes, it's like, if you disagree with me, then I want to censor what you have to say.
Yeah.
Right? You should never be afraid of what somebody says. The truth hurts, and none of us want to hear the truth. The only reason to censor something is to squash the truth and reduce the pain of that truth. You can lie about something, but if you're in an open, honest society and you can't control the narratives, then the truth will always come out in the end. It may take some time, but the truth always comes out. And see, the problem is I've been in situations to where I've had somebody who had animosity towards me, and I'm not going to play the game. They lied about something, and they get out in front of it and they go tell everybody their version of what's taken place. Well, I'm not the type of person that's going to go out there. If somebody wants to know, they can ask me. I'll tell you the truth, but I'm not going to go out there because the truth will stand in time. And you know, but that's what liars do. They get out and they have to control the narrative, and they have to constantly tell you how to think, and they have to make sure that you don't go talk to that other person. They need to make sure that you don't hear that other side of the story. They're terrified to sit down and have a conversation face to face. They're terrified to debate. They're terrified to let somebody else hear the other side of the story because lies don't stand. And that's why we must protect our freedom of speech in America. And the strength of freedom of speech is you're going to find the truth. The weakness of freedom of speech is people are going to say stupid things. But stupid things and stupid ideas are not going to stand the test of time.
You know, it's so weird. When I came to work here, the first thing I told Roger Futch 18 years ago, I said, what you see is what you get. I cannot emotionally change. I don't have that power. I'm pretty tough and I'm pretty strong, but I cannot emotionally change how I feel. And everybody can read me like a book. Like a book. Here's a book. But everybody can read me like a book because that's the way it is, you know. And when you say something to me that really hurts, I never, ever forget it. And I've been reading, this is so crazy, I've been reading the Bible a lot lately. My bestie bought me a Bible with bigger print for Christmas.
Oh, aren't those the best things ever?
Yes, thank goodness, because I don't wear glasses. So every time I get to thinking, oh, how am I going to live through this? How can I forgive that? How can I do this? Then I go to the Bible. Yeah. And there's always something in there that no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're feeling, and I just will open it, and then 2 or 3 readings, and I will go, wow, right there it is, you know. You don't even have to look far. Right there it is. Yeah. And I'm like, this is so crazy. This is so crazy that I can get through things that I truly thought would kill me. I thought today I would be laying over at Antioch, done, and somebody'd be bringing flowers. Never dreamed I would live through what I lived through. And I look around and I'm like, holy cow, I am stronger than I thought. There is strength out there, but sometimes we don't know how to exercise that strength. Did you watch the interview of Donald Trump when he was 34 years old?
No, actually I didn't.
And he was asked, would he run for president? And he said no, he didn't want to, but he saw things in America that needed to be changed, and he hoped that somebody could, and he hoped that somebody strong would step up. And when I watched that interview, I thought, well, all these years we've had people step up. And you know, everybody knew I was diehard Bush for a long time. Well, I'm diehard not Bush at all now. Period. I've got autographed
the truth
stuff
came
from the
out.
Bushes. The truth came out. Yeah. The truth will stand right there.
The truth will stand.
I've got all kinds of autographed things from the Bush family, and I could care less about it because the truth came out. Yeah. And it's sad because I supported the Bush family completely. Yeah. I mean, like I was Bush red all the way, and changed me. You know, it changed me because I said, that's really not the way it is it?
No.
You know?
Well, and what can we do as citizens? That's the thing. What can we do? We can be the people that we need to be, treated other people with kindness, treated other people with respect. Even if somebody has a different opinion than you, hear them out. Listen to them, right? Because iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to agree with somebody across the board. But if they're willing to have a conversation and you're willing to come to a compromise, every marriage has to come to a compromise, right? Because if you get everything I want, if I get everything I want, Holly's not going to be as happy as she wants to be. She gets everything that she wants, I'm, out the door. She'd be out the door if I get everything I want. So you come to a compromise. In our society, we've got to come to a compromise, right? So, even on a local level, we have to have reasonable debates, and we have to have leaders that will say, no. I may lean to your side a little bit more in your support, but you're wrong on that. Mm-hmm. We're going to be equal and we're going to fair, and we're going to have to try to do that on our local level. And we're going to have to understand that there are some people out there that just are not mentally strong enough to have a conversation like that. And you have to look beyond that person to the people that are out there that are willing and engage them. We have to play the game by the rules that are forced upon us. That's one of the things I've learned about the markets. That's one of the things that has helped us be far better and learn from the mistakes of the past. We have to play by the game of the rules that are forced upon us in a society, and we may not be able to change it at that top level, but if we can work on a community basis and build those relationships and build that community and strive for the truth and be humble in our own stance. Like, I don't know everything. We just don't. We're better together. We're better together. We're better when we're having communication. And if we build cohesion, we shouldn't be a country of Democrats and Republicans. We should be Americans who have tendencies that lean Democrat or Republican. And really, I wish we'd just get away with that bipolar partisan system and have some independence. But and that's ideal.
Has an independent ever been elected?
I'm sorry?
Has an independent ever been elected?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
On the president level?
I don't remember in my lifetime ever.
I don't remember either.
But it's funny because as a Republican, I would have voted for John Kennedy because I liked him. Because I liked him. I liked him. I liked him as a person. I liked him. So it's kind of weird, but now it's so strange. We've got to take a commercial break, and we're going to share some photos too. I want to encourage y'all, even though I bought $5.02 worth of gas because I was mad at the prices, if you get an opportunity over this holiday weekend and you don't want to go to the beach, you don't want to go to the lake, you don't want to go do crazy stuff, check out these small towns in Georgia. From Madison to Macon to, we went down to the town where Sweet Home Alabama was done. Went over to Concord, Georgia, which is a place that I used to go weekly and love the tiny town. There's so much history in the cities, the tiny towns of Georgia. Get out and go in whatever direction you want to go, and I'm going to suggest a town that you could go to. Summerville, Georgia is a beautiful town. And also you could go to Cave Springs, Georgia, which is a beautiful town. These are all within 75 miles of where we're sitting right now. So, choose a place maybe you did. This is from the town where the movie set Sweet Home Alabama was done. But when we think about it, Georgia is, yesterday I had a young man come in the office. He's looking to buy a home. He's come in here from Katy, Texas. He works in the movie industry. Very, very nice young man, and he and his wife, and it was so funny because I said, what brings you to Georgia? And he said, well, actually, I'm from Stone Mountain. You could have knocked me over because he sounded pure Texas. He had that Texas drawl. And I said, well, I never saw that coming. But it's interesting how the world delivers different people to us every single day. And every single day, take that meeting, that person, that message as an opportunity to share what is good in America, an opportunity to share what we can do to make America better, because after all, it is the 4th of July. It is our Independence Day. It is time we become independent in ourselves and decide that we want what's best for the nation, whether it's this party or that party. We want what's best for America, and I think together we can make that happen. So maybe it's time that we show our true colors and we all just get together and say, we don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, Independent, we don't care. What do we want to make America better? And having friends from foreign countries has taught me more than anything, because when they share their stories of what they escaped, let me tell you, we're not far from there if we don't get America cleaned up real quickly, because we are going down the drain fast when it comes to crime and drugs and craziness, and we need to stop it. We need to stop it. The parade that you were talking about where children were exposed to what they were, honestly, as a mom of a 6 or 7 year old little child, I would have had a heart attack. I'd have had a baseball bat after the guy. I would have gone crazy. So the craziness has to stop, and we have the power to stop it. So in numbers together, we are great. Let's go to a commercial break and we'll be right back.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time. And delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Georgia Medical Treatment Center now has 2 locations to bring you the high-quality holistic care you've come to know and expect. We treat neck, back, and joint pain with chiropractic care and injection-based treatment without the need for surgery or prescription painkillers. Our medical weight loss program can also provide relief while ridding your body of toxins, pounds, and inches while improving your overall health. Call today for a free consultation, 770-345-2000, or go online to georgiamtc.com.
You know, how you feel on the inside is just as important to me as how you feel on the outside.
Oh, Daddy.
I'm grown up, in every way, care and take care of you. You're my grown up, and I know you're there.
I'm your grown up, and you know I care.
'Cause it's you and me and me and you.
So when you are okay or not okay, I'll take care of you.
See us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
And types in his. We're back. I thought we were going to do the pictures. Are we not doing the pictures? Yay. You going to do those pictures?
Yeah, sorry, I was counting down.
Okay, all right. We're going to the pictures and finish these, and and then we're going to do a little blooper. We've never done a blooper, and I want to do it real quickly. Okay, this is something y'all have never seen, and I think you might like it. You might like it.
Oh, my whole body hurts.
You might like it. Here we go. Are we going? Are we going? Are we going? Don't y'all love live TV?
Hold on. Keep talking. I gotta get this fixed.
Okay.
We're still live, and I don't know if everybody heard it, but I started going to the gym for the first time in 2 years, and I raised my arms up, and I'm like, oh, my whole body hurts. It's been 2 years, 10 years, I didn't miss it.
I know. You used to come in here, and you'd already been to the gym.
I'd already
that
been,
day.
and
Yeah.
now it's quite humbling to go back. I'll be 50 in September. And
Wow.
And,
wow. You were a baby when you started here. Just a baby, 32 years old.
26 years ago.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, 26 years ago.
Wow.
Of course, you and I, but when did we start? 2000?
18 years.
18 years,
18 years that you've come.
I had more hair.
Yeah, I've got pictures of us. We've got evidence. We both
I had
look
braces at
different.
one point.
You did, yeah. Are we ready? We're getting there. Okay.
We're getting there.
Yeah, this blooper that I'm going to share, I'll probably get in a world of trouble for it, but it's so funny because y'all have seen this man and you love him. And today he's over in Chatsworth singing at a funeral for a dear friend. But I just found this and I thought, Dad, burn it, we're going to show it. And if it gets me choked, it'll get me choked. But it's so funny because you know what, life, we got to have some laughter.
Oh, yes.
We've got to get through this world without being so, it's tough. Sometimes we get the gloom and doom.
And we can't take ourselves too seriously.
No.
Like we got, you know, if you can't make fun of yourself for your own tendencies, because a lot of times your greatest strengths are your greatest weaknesses. There come the photos.
Well, there you go. Okay, now these are the photos where Sweet Home Alabama was done. And this town has the most beautiful courthouse. if you're out around the small Georgia towns, go. Chatsworth has a beautiful courthouse, the old antique courthouse, absolutely gorgeous. There's just so much in Georgia to see, and y'all need to get out and see it, because there is nothing like the old construction. And if you, it's so weird. Look at that phone. Do you remember when the phone was that heavy and that hard?
I do.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And it dialed, and it took forever to dial, and then the circle goes back around. Life is so different today. So we need to hold on to what we loved of the past. We need to look toward the future, but we need to stand up and say, we're going to be strong in America. And that's, Democrat, Republican, Independent, if you've never voted, register to vote, exercise your right to vote. Let's put it together, and together we can make America more than it has been lately, because lately it's kind of been a cluster, and it's been a mess of stuff. And that is a house that I absolutely loved visiting many years ago. Does that not just look like going home?
It does.
Just going home. And then these
nice
are dirt roads. Actually, it's near where the Dukes of Hazzard was filmed.
Oh.
And some of the Dukes of Hazzard may have been filmed on that road. So it's crazy. But Georgia has become a big tourist industry for movie buffs who love chasing down. And this is a scene from Heat of the Night and the Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
That was used there, and that's in Covington, Georgia. So, again,
I have walked across that.
Have you
I sure
really?
have.
Oh
Sure
my
have.
gosh, that is amazing. Now, is it still used for trains?
At the time, so I was in college,
Uh-huh.
and there was a girl that lived there that I was kind of hanging out with. So she's like, "Hey, you want to go walk across the trellis?" So we did, and we had to pay attention to the trains, because back then the trains were still coming across
Oh,
it.
wow.
I don't know if they are today.
That is scary.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
because
because what would you have done? Jumped?
No,
That'd be a long
she
jump.
explained you could climb down and kind of stay in the.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I mean, if you made one
now
mistake.
look at this. This is in honor of you. Don't forget, while you're busy doubting yourself, someone else is admiring your strength.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good, because sometimes we doubt, can we succeed, can we do, can we whatever. So are we going to go next to the blooper? And that's us a long time
Wow,
ago.
they found a picture.
Yeah. We've been around for a while.
We
We've
sure
been around
have.
for a while. So yeah. And that is three old geezers. One of them just had a birthday. One of them's crazy, and the other one's just
That's a good group.
businessman here in Ball Ground and Ellijay. Now we're going to end today with the bloopers. So can we do that, Trace? We'll just end with the blooper in just a little bit. If you think about today's world and the economy and the things that are happening, I don't know. Does Holly come home screaming after she goes to the grocery store? Does it really get to her?
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's getting to people.
It's she's changed her shopping habits.
Mm-hmm.
And Holly's now, one thing I'm really fortunate about is she is very, very frugal.
Uh-huh.
And to the point that I kind of make fun of her from time to time, but I'm really appreciative of it.
Oh yeah, and you'll get more and more as the price of bacon goes up.
Yeah. But she's changed her habits,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we're complaining. I mean, we've changed our habits across the board. I mean, you used to, every now and then we'd swing up, pick up something fast food. Now I don't do that a lot because I just don't like the food as much. It's not as healthy.
Yeah.
But that's a constant topic of conversation in our household. It's a constant topic of conversation with our kids.
Yeah.
It's a constant topic of conversation that I'm having with clients right now.
It is the budget for food and gas is more than our mortgage was. Either my food or the gas is more than my mortgage on a brick 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick house was. And that's crazy. That is crazy for gas and food. You're spending more than a mortgage.
Well, here's another thing. So this administration, to try to limit the impact of inflation,
he says isn't happening.
Has reduced our strategic petroleum reserves.
Mm-hmm.
They make fun of the average person because the average person is saying the economy is not that great. Now, people can make ends meet, but they're concerned, but they're breaking at the edges. If you look, there's sacrifices that are being made, and I think we're reaching that point of diminishing returns. But the thing is coming into this July 4th, which is a big time travel weekend, I read a report a couple of days ago, the Biden administration has released 1 million gallons of gasoline onto the market to try to keep prices down while people travel.
Sure.
So the problem is we're not willing to accept reality because they're afraid that's going to hurt them.
But to benefit themselves,
But to benefit
they released
themselves.
1 million gallons.
And we're pushing Russia right now. I mean, look, y'all can say Russia's bad. I'm not getting into who's right, who's wrong. All I know is we're pushing. We're pushing, and we're being a bully. And, you know, and we've drained our strategic petroleum reserves. We've drained our gas reserves down. So here's one thing that I'm going to encourage everybody out there, okay? We're coming into a fall political season. I don't think either side's going to accept the outcome of the election. I hope that I'm wrong on that. But the point being is there's a great chance that we could have supply chain disruptions. There's a great chance that things could escalate on a global stage when you look at what's going on with Israel and Lebanon and Iran and what's back and forth, and hopefully it doesn't, but I believe we've become complacent as individuals. Food prices are ridiculously high. Shipping costs are starting to increase because of what's taking place in the Red Sea right now. The U.S. has just not been able to protect the shipping channels, so we're seeing increase. That is what's called cost push inflation, so it's starting to come into the supply chain again. And again, unless we have a major recession, if we get Goldilocks economy and the government cuts interest rates again, inflation is more than likely going to come back. Inflation will go away if we have a 2000, a 2003 type recession or a 2008, God forbid, great financial crisis version 2. But I would encourage everybody, consider food like savings in the bank, okay? If you have the resources, build up 2-3 weeks with a goal of getting about 3 months worth of what you eat on a regular basis, and you rotate those stocks. Because one, if food prices were to double again in the next 24 months, you have a cushion where you can absorb that in your budget. If we have supply chain disruptions, if there's, you know, some type of chaos around the election, and I have no clue, guys, I'm not saying, but my responsibility in the financial world is to help people make prudent decisions and prepare for the risks that they're going to face. And this is what I get to tell everybody. I've walked with people for 26 years through retirement. I've had clients that have retired at, you know, have worked with me at 70 and passed away within that 26 years. I know what people are going to face in retirement, and I help them plan for those risks. Seriously consider it. If you're nervous about it, sit down and pray about it, and I believe you'll come to the same conclusion that that's not a foolish thing to do. And it makes you a little bit more resilient if we have some things that were to spin out of control. So, I mean, think about it. I mean, God forbid, if we ended up in a global war, you think that the supply chain constraints during the COVID pandemic were bad? It'll be far worse than that in the interim period. So, and if we have, you know, at the rate that our government's spending money, if we have something snap, because everything economically has been pushed to maximum efficiency, and that's great as long as it keeps running. But we're to the point that there are so many plates spinning at maximum efficiency that we can't squeeze much more blood out of that turnip. And if something snaps, it's going to spiral across the system. And who knows when that's going to happen. But we have to walk with courage and wisdom. And the Bible tells us the prudent foresee danger and hide themselves while the simple pass on and are judged for it. It tells us that twice in the book of Proverbs. So what's a prudent thing to do right now? Make sure you've got some food, make sure you've got some savings, make sure that you know that you're prepping yourself for where we are, because if you go back through history and you look, right, the Great Depression, you know, very few people were saying this is coming, but there were people that were out there warning people, and they're like, I'm not going to pay attention to them. They were early, so they were wrong. You know, World War II broke out. Vietnam War in the 1970s, you've had the September 11th attacks. You know, there's all kinds of things that are going on, and you hope that it doesn't impact you, but that's one thing that I would encourage everybody to do. If you think I'm crazy, that's fine. If you've prepared and something happens, then by God's grace, you're in that position.
That's right.
But I'd rather be prepared for something that doesn't happen than to be in a position, because if you don't consider what's a prudent path and try to foresee danger and hide yourself, then you're going to be judged for it. I mean, as a driver, you got to be defensive. You're trying to look at, driving a motorcycle taught me how to be really pay attention to other drivers. You don't drive foolishly, so don't live your life foolishly. And that's one thing that I can say. If food prices were to go up dramatically over the next 3 to 4 years, because it looks like the Fed's kind of given up on 2% inflation, we're going to run it towards 3%. That's a devastating thing. If you just build that habit into your daily life, you're more resilient, you have a little bit more peace in the midst of chaos, so that your stress level's a little bit less and you have a little bit more freedom and options.
And instead of going out 2 or 3 nights a week, spend that extra money on stocking your grocery shelves.
Yeah.
And old me went to Ingles and it was on sale. I bought it if it was on sale. I bought it. I mean, stock up on sale items. And I can say thank you, Diane, for telling us that Blue Plate was on sale at Ingles, because I got 5 jars.
Good for you.
So yay. We're going to go now. We're going to leave y'all with something. I may get choked for this, but this is just a little blooper from somebody that we love, and I know y'all love him. And he's actually going to be back very soon. He's so excited about Smoky Mountain Memories. He said of all the songs he's ever done, it is the best he's ever done. But we're going to take you to just a little blippet of Mr. Ellijay. Have a great holiday weekend. Please stay safe, stay hydrated, and stay positive, because positivity is kind of contagious just a little bit. So
hey,
can we pass on some positive news?
Doesn't matter how tough it is, glass is half full. You learn from the mistakes of the past, and you press on to the greater achievements of the future, and we keep fighting no matter what.
That's it. That's it. Y'all take a listen, and don't tell him I did this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. No. I am Mr. Ellijay.
Yes,
No.
you are.
No.
Yes, you are.
Okay, start it over.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Somewhere, but no. Delete that.
Okay, go ahead.
Damn. Somewhere between your heart and mine, there's a window that I can't see through. There's a wall so high it reaches the sky. Somewhere between you and me. Somewhere between your heart and mine, there's a love I can't understand. It's there for a while, then it fades like a smile, and I'm left in the middle again. Somewhere between your heart and mine, there's a window that I can't see through. There's a wall so high it reaches the sky. Somewhere between you and me. Somewhere. Nah.
It's